Hey, today a community manager discussed expanding the emote wheel. A support team member responded to a Helldiver about weapon audio issues. And the CEO addressed higher difficulty levels and challenges with increasing enemies on a planet. We're also going to review some details together about the recent major order, but that's not all, there's even more to cover. If you enjoyed the content, please show some love by tapping the like button below the video. I'd really appreciate it. As always, let's get started. Let's start today's news video about expanding the emote wheel in Helldivers 2. I know many of you would love to see this happen at some point. In fact, a member of the official Helldivers 2 Discord asked if the developers plan to expand the emote wheel. Community manager Mitchimus revealed that he and Baskoneer had previously discussed this, but they're unsure about what will happen with the emote wheel, as the developers and staff are focused on a busy month ahead. It seems they have some big plans for the year. I wonder what they're going to do. With Xbox players joining us in about 2 weeks, maybe they have something major planned for them and us. Speaking of major, the recent major order in Helldivers 2 was quite interesting, as High Command requested that we use the rail cannon strike to eliminate troopers. Someone asked Mitchimus if scout striders count as trooper eliminations, and he clarified that they do not. Another Helldiver chimed in to ask if marauders count as troopers, and the answer was no, only troopers count. Lastly, a third Helldiver sought to better understand the major order by asking if other enemies like marauders, rocket raiders, MG raiders, and so on are excluded. Mitchimus confirmed that yes, only standard troopers count for the major order. It looks like that's the final answer, and to be fair, I think we're going to fail the major order unless High Command reduces the elimination requirement as they did in the past with the Leviathans. By the way, I'd like to point out that I saw some comments about maybe the other day, something like that, suggesting this major order is intentional, a joke from the developers having a blast at our expense. But then I started wondering, why release a major order designed for us to fail? What's the point if it's just a joke? Regardless, I think we've uncovered the real reason behind this major order. Recently, High Command updated the dispatch with a message stating they've intercepted automaton communications, revealing a database on Charbel 7. So if we can liberate that planet, we'll secure critical intel about the automaton's plans. Perhaps we're meant to fail the trooper elimination goal, but still secure intel about their troop movements. If you have any ideas or thoughts about the major order, feel free to share them in the comments. So lastly, we're going to go over one more response from Mitchimus, and this is about the warp pack issues. If you don't know, some Helldivers are experiencing some trouble when trying to use the warp pack to go into a bunker. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. It's pretty iffy at the moment. Mitchimus revealed that he's going to ask about it, and hopefully we'll receive some news about this in the future. Maybe they'll improve it so we can actually go through certain bunkers. I know there's some that are not accessible. I think it's those ones that are kind of tucked in between an actual mountain, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that right there is going to be interesting to see if they actually resolve the issue at hand. We're now moving on to discuss Arrowhead CEO's comments about several topics, starting with crossovers. Shams Georgiani responded to a question about a potential Dead Space collaboration. The CEO replied that he would need to consult the directors, but noted that Dead Space is currently an inactive IP. I found this interesting because the Killzone crossover from last year also involves an inactive IP, so it doesn't really make sense if you think about it, right? I hadn't heard about Killzone in years until the crossover popped up last year. Regardless if Arrowhead aims for active IPs, I think Halo, ODST, or Aliens would fit perfectly. I know many players out there aren't fans of collabs by any means, but Helldivers 2 won't turn out like Fortnite. I can certainly guarantee that, given how Arrowhead has previously stated they only pursue crossovers that make sense. Next, let's discuss Warbonds. Are the developers at Arrowhead planning to release Warbonds monthly? Arrowhead CEO Shams Georgiani revealed that their goal is to release Warbonds with balance, ensuring they don't release anything lacking quality and value. We know the control group Warbond dropped on July 17th. We might see another Warbond reveal this month, perhaps after August 26th, when Xbox players join us, or a Warbond trailer in September. Given the devs took a summer break, it could be as late as September, depending on their return to the studio. We know some have returned, but we don't know if they're all back. Since I mentioned the CEO's focus on quality, what about the quality of Helldivers 2 in terms of performance? Will there be a dedicated performance patch? The answer is no, not necessarily, as the CEO stated that with every patch, they aim to improve quality, stability, and performance. He also referenced a topic we've discussed before, noting that as they add more content and features to the game, performance will require ongoing improvements. I know that's tough to hear, yet it's part of development apparently. We know Arrowhead is working on, improving performance with each patch, and hopefully it'll get better from here on out. On a related note about patches, will the developers ever increase the difficulty past level 10 and include that in one of their future patches? Arrowhead CEO Shams Georgiani mentioned that he doesn't know, and they might explore alternative ways to increase difficulty without raising the maximum difficulty level. Before we move on to the next conversation about difficulty, I'd like to point out that they're likely to introduce new, tougher enemies rather than raising the difficulty level, which, to be honest, I don't like that one bit. I'd prefer they add a difficulty modifier system that lets us search for games with specific modifiers. For example, they could add a modifier that increases enemy health, or one that grants invisibility to some enemies, allowing you to search for games where Helldivers are fighting automatons with those modifiers. This way, you avoid joining games with high difficulty modifiers you don't like. They could even include fun modifiers, like extra explosions when you eliminate an automaton, or extra blood splatter effects on your Helldiver when you defeat a Terminated, for instance. That's my idea anyway. I'm not saying it's the best idea ever. I'm just spitballing here, right? Anyway, a Helldiver asked if Shams Georgiani could elaborate on what he meant by finding different ways to increase difficulty. The CEO responded by saying that increasing enemy spawns would make things more difficult, but more enemies could lead to performance issues for Helldivers 2. He added that they want to explore other ways to increase the challenge. Based on that response, I don't think we'll see increased enemy spawns anytime soon, and I'm certain they won't raise the difficulty level beyond 10. So I'd like to ask you, what do you believe the developers should do to make things more challenging? If you have any ideas, share them in the comments. Continuing along, a different Helldiver asked about bugs and whether the developers are aware of every known bug in Helldivers 2. The response they got back was intriguing because I wasn't expecting the CEO to say this. Shams Georgiani admitted that they're good at tracking issues and bugs, but they're also good at creating them. I really appreciate the honesty from Shams. It's great. I also want to point out that if Arrowhead had more developers and staff, they could potentially squash bugs faster and pump out content more quickly than ever before. I truly believe the lack of manpower is the main issue. They need more devs to tackle specific tasks within the studio and additional team members to get the ball rolling. Next, there's a post from Arrowhead's support team about audio issues with certain weapons. B Vitamin spoke on this, saying they're aware of audio bugs where some weapons lack firing sounds. She explained that it doesn't seem tied to specific weapons as reports involve various weapons and aren't consistent. She confirmed the issue has been popping up since the recent patch that dropped last Tuesday, and they're currently investigating the problem. I'll keep you all updated if I hear more about this. B Vitamin also posted about crashes, suggesting that if you experience a crash and a reporting window pops up, you should fill it out and send it, as the developers will receive the info and gain a better understanding of what's happening. She confirmed there's nothing the support team can do directly from their support site to help you. On a related note, the support site has reported a new issue that's been popping up recently with the Super Destroyer. If you go to the ship management terminal to change your Super Destroyer's name to include Leviathan or Warrior, you'll notice that after accepting the changes, your ship name changes to Advocate instead of, Warrior or Leviathan. As displayed in the top left corner, you can see it says it. It's not a major bug, just a minor one, but it could be quite annoying for many of you trying to rename your ship. Let's now go over the new dispatch where High Command revealed they've authorized a new temporary arsenal boost where the orbital rail cannon stratagem will receive a cooldown buff. Basically, that's pretty much what it is. You can send one down and it'll only take 50 seconds for you to use it again. Pretty cool. And that's with the full ship upgrade, I believe. As you'll see right here, it says it's been lowered down by 150 seconds for the next 96 hours. Very interesting. I love this. Hopefully they're gonna do something here with the stratagem and basically buff it, which would be cool if it's a permanent buff. Lastly, we've got the top 3 comments. First, from Raiden_24 that mentioned how every planet in the gloom might be a super colony. If that's the case, we're definitely going to have some trouble, right? It has to be, right? At this point, there has to be a super colony in there. It's been months and months, and actually it's been a year and a half, I think now. No, only a year. And it's going to be outrageous to see what's going on inside the gloom on those planets. I can't wait to dive in and to see what's going on. What are your thoughts about this? If you have any thoughts, guys, let me know, because this is interesting. Do you think there's going to be some sort of super colony? If so, let me know. The second top comment is by Mr. Cactus, talking about how the team morale over at Arrowhead should be a top priority because, yeah, if it's low, then the patches might be slow to release or things might include more bugs. It's best to have everyone in top tier shape. The third and final top comment is by Vertigo that talked about how they're receiving 1 to 5 FPS while dropping into a planet. And yeah, that's an issue. It's still a problem, as well as with the crashes is also another problem too. Hopefully things get better, because if it doesn't, then yeah, it's going to be a rough time for Helldivers and even the developers, because they're going to hear all of the complaints that are justified. With that said, hope you have enjoyed the video. If you can, consider tapping the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications below if you haven't already. And as always, I appreciate everyone, from the subscribers, the members, and the lurkers. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.